Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is White Lightning, and welcome back to Principles of Empire at War in the Thrawn's Revenge mod as the New Republic. Last time we did some raiding, keeping up with our principles of offensive and initiative, trying to keep our enemies that are bordering us on the back foot. Ended up taking out a decent sized fleet and shipyard over the Hutt planet of Ubrikia, took out a decent sized fleet with many heroes over the greater Maldrude controlled planet of Kashyyyk. Might consider moving up and taking that from them. And then we were able to eliminate a large battle cruiser, Imperial battle cruiser over the planet of Foles as well. Did have an attack come in on Endor. The Empire sent a little fleet down from Oreen. However, they've pulled that fleet back, and so I don't think they're going to be sending any ground units to do a ground invasion, which is kind of what I was afraid of. Not really afraid of per se, that's why we have these ground units here. In the first place, this is a pretty decent sized defensive force, but the Empire apparently pulled back, so I'm going to regenerate and get that defensive space station back, just so they're not able to swoop in unopposed. As far as I can tell, having a space station over a planet is what gives you the alert up here at the top left that the enemy is about to invade a planet, so we definitely want that early warning coming in for us. But as far as our goals today, I've noticed over here on Nal Hutta, the Hutts are down to a fleet of only 3 PopCap. They just have a couple of minor heroes there above the planet, and so I'm thinking now might be a great time to send in our fleets, one of our fleets. We've got Akbar's fleet here, needs a little bit of tender loving care, and then we've got Sovv's fleet here as well, about the same power level, frankly, about the same capabilities. I'm thinking I'll send Akbar's fleet, though, as soon as we get this second Dauntless done. I'll send this Liberator and this Dauntless. Oh, hello. And we've got our barracks mission complete, which gives us 3 Mandalorian command platoons over Tyna, so that's nice. It's coming over here to Tyna, and yep, we got those commando platoons, so those will help bolster that ground defense. In fact, might actually move them over to Chardon, because I think it makes sense to keep those ground defenses together, clumped together. So let's grab our 2 ships here, and I was going to put those in Sovv's fleet, I think, and once they get there, I'd say let's move in with Sovv and see if we can take Nal Hutta at least in space, and potentially push up to ground as well with an army like Luke and Lando's here on Emberline. So really good. Like I say, I'm happy with the raiding that we were able to do last time, and it looks like the Empire is back with more. So the Hutt cartels have conquered Kashyyyk, so that's interesting. That's now a very large Hutt fleet over Kashyyyk itself. That's really interesting and a little bit concerning. Let's come over here to, let's see, I don't have an ion cannon on Emberline. Do I want an ion cannon on Emberline? Probably so, probably a good thing to have. So let's queue that up. Actually, first I'll queue up a larger starbase, because that'll be built first. We'll wait for this ground factory to get done, and then we'll queue up the ion cannon. So, because it doesn't make sense to queue up production too much. Let's see, just waiting for these new ships to come into Sovv's fleet. I could try to make the attack with Akbar's fleet as well, but I figure we'll give him a break. His fleet is not fully up to snuff either. I'm thinking we're going to send this Dauntless to him. And we've got Mon Mothma elected again, new week's worth of income. I'm thinking with that, let's buy another MC-80B, and we'll probably send that up to Nance's fleet. And then maybe, and the reason I say it doesn't make a lot of sense to queue up all of your too much production, but the reason I'm doing it here over Sullust, of course, is to get that really nice, sexy discount. So we'll get another MC-80B and yet another Liberator. I really like the Liberators. I think they're really good ships. That's probably going to go to Nance's fleet, and then we will be pretty much fleshed out rather, as far as Nance goes. Queue up that ion cannon now. We're close enough, especially with the new month's worth of income. And then I think that Home 1 constructing is up here on Mon Calamari. Yeah, Regab's fleet is actually looking pretty good, pretty robust. Let's get him another MC-80, and we'll just, again, not prioritize this fleet, but we want to get it nice and strong so that it is capable of fighting back any, say, for instance, large Maldrude attacks that might come from Centauris. In fact, have my spy... Yeah, my spy has gone away from Centauris, so I'm going to take this guy, this Bothan spy, and we'll re-spy on Centauris. And then we should be, yep, we're at 309 now on Sovv's fleet, and that is going to be plenty, I think. We'll take our Marauder cruiser in the point position, Pathfinder position, and we'll move into Nal Hutta and see what we can do. They appear to have moved even those space units away from Nal Hutta, so hopefully we can get in before they're able to do anything. Yeah, I'm not liking the size of this fleet here over Kashyyyk, 377. There's not much we can do about it. They don't have the most ground units on the ground here, but these are all vehicles, so sending our Jedi in to raid probably doesn't make the most sense. Oh, there's a little bit of a fleet here, 57 at Nal Hutta. Let's see what that is. That's still 57. Okay, so let's take a look at this tactical situation here. We have Sovv, who gives a command bonus, not as big as Akbar's. We have a Home 1 type cruiser, which is going to be benefiting from Sovv's bonus and is going to be nice and tanky for us. They are coming at us with 3 Karaga destroyers, which are 14 pop cap each, so nothing huge, nothing crazy there. And then let's wait and see what their reinforcements they spawn in are. So here come all their corvettes, right? And then they've got, ooh, quite a bit extra. 2 additional Karagas, it looks like, and then 2 of these big Vontor destroyers, which are large, capable ships. Let's see what they do. I'm really interested to see what they do with these Vontors that are up in front, and if they get even farther away from each other. Like, if this one pulls ahead and pulls forward, we might have an opportunity to go out and get it before we have to face the rest of this defensive fleet here. So pretty big defensive fleet. These Vontors especially are pretty tough to kill. They're very tanky. They have concussion missiles, heavy turbo lasers, and the Hutts carry a lot of fighters too. You can see a lot of fighters there. But we have a lot of fighters on our own, so I'm going to bring in this Home 1 type clear back here, a little farther back. We'll bring in Sovv behind it to support. Our Dauntlesses here. We've got a couple of Quasars, could probably have more in this fleet. We've got some Liberators, and those are going to be carrying a fair amount of... Oh, and now the Vontor's coming up. Looks like all of their ships are coming up now. Interesting. Let's get in pretty much everything else that we have. Let's get in our Assault Frigate Mark IIs. I want to pull everything in while we are paused, because I want to get all of our fighters to spawn sooner rather than later. I'm also going to pull in these X4 gunships. I really don't use gunships a ton, and maybe I need to do a better job of that, because gunships are not bad, right? I just don't tend to prioritize them. Oh, and we need point defense too, if we're fighting the Hutts especially. We need point defense. Okay, go ahead and unpause. I don't really care if they retreat. I will bring in this additional Marauder, and I'll bring in this DP-20 as well. So that should be good for us. Moncal, Cruiser, you can go ahead and hit power to shields. And yeah, just as I hoped, it looks like we're going to be able to get this Vontor mostly down before the rest of their forces arrive. So we'll get this Dauntless to start firing here. Sovv, you can stay where you are. We'll get our basically all of our Dauntlesses to help move up and help while this Moncal MC-80 tanks a little bit. And then I'll Control A, grab all of my fighters, of which we have quite a few, which is a good sign, and I'm going to send them all to go after this Karaga here. Meanwhile, you can stop right where you are. I'm going to move this MC-80 up, and I'm going to tell this MC-80 to go for this left side Karaga. We'll move our assault frigates and have them start working on this Vontor. Liberators, I will control-click you guys and have you help out the fighters and bombers here, and then we'll get our A-wings to go specifically for their fighters and start targeting them. And then let's grab our point defense ships and group them as best we can. Group 1, and I will pull them forward a little bit so they can start helping us whittle down on these fighters. But it looks like we've been largely successful. That was pretty good deployment. That Vontor deploying so far forward, which the AI has no control over. I think that's just where they spawn out of the shipyard. Ended up paying off pretty well for us. So that's really nice. And yep, we're taking out these Hutt ships. Like I say, this front battle group here is pretty much destroyed. Now we just have to deal with this other Vontor, these other 2 Karagas, and these smaller ships, the frigates and the corvettes. But this is going well. Okay, I'm going to grab all my fighters, and let's get our gunships as well to come in and start making runs on these Vontors. Meanwhile, I'm just going to select, I think, all of my ships and start them moving forward. Yeah, I'm just going to box select everything here and have them move over towards this side of the map. These X-Wings go and these fighters go in, bombing this Hutt formation. Meanwhile, our main fleet is moving. That is a handsome rebel fleet there. And that's just exactly how a rebel fleet should look, right? The big old MC-80, the escorting cruisers nearby. Okay, yeah, we're in good shape here. I will, again, grab our A-Wings and have them start going after some of the fighters specifically. Like we're moving in. I am going to grab all of my Dauntlesses and have them actually deviate and start working on this Dreadnought here, and they are going to be the main ships that we use to intercept and deal with these smaller corvettes and frigates. Meanwhile, the Home 1 type can focus a little bit more heavily on this Karaga, and then we'll get... Looks like we've just killed the Vontor, or we're about to kill that last Vontor, so that's great. Everybody's still moving forward, that's fine. We'll keep our point defense ships moving, because I think we're gonna... no, we'll bring them back a little bit. You hit your sensor jamming. And yeah, like I say, we'll get these Dauntlesses starting to take out these smaller ships, these frigates. MC-80, you can move on up. and start dealing with this last Vontor. Assault frigates, you can do that as well. Everybody else will pull our point defense back, so they're taking a little less heat, although they're not taking a ton of heat from these frigates, but that's okay. Yeah, move these Dauntlesses up. I love the Dauntless, I've said this before, but I really do love them. I think they're really solid ships. We are losing some fighters because we're seeing more spawn out of our capital ships, but I think we're going to be just fine. Oh yeah, this is not going to be that difficult of a fight. I was more worried about this than I should have been, turns out. I've just been burned before by attacking the Hutts because they just have such large, tanky ships. Again, though, I am a little concerned. They have a Golan 3 and this Valaduja. As we've seen, these large stations, these very built-up capital planets tend to have. So I'm going to try to get all of our forces over to this right side of the map here and attack the Valaduja from this direction, so hopefully we're not dealing too much with the fire from the Golan 3 while we do that simultaneously. So I'm actually going to grab everyone in our forces. We'll go ahead and fast forward. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, they are bringing in reinforcements from Butanahata, which is noteworthy and makes sense. This is their capital world. They would probably want to defend this pretty extensively. Thankfully, I do have quite a few fighters and still have fighter superiority, so I'm going to just send all of my fighters to start working on this Vontor, softening it up before my capital ships, before it reaches my capital ships, and that should really help it not be a threat again as they trickle these ships in, as we've seen our enemies consistently do. Placement is everything, right? And how exactly you maneuver your forces is everything. And these guys are not maneuvering their forces appropriately. So just grab all of these guys, send them back. I will keep the Quasars back a little farther. No reason for them to get up close to the fight, so that's fine. And then I'll get my point defense ships over here to start to run some interference. You can trigger your effect to make their missiles lose lock and lose guidance. And my point defense ships, meanwhile, are going to come in here and start dealing point defense damage to these bombers that the Hutts have. Meanwhile, this Vontor is coming in already down on shields, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. We'll bring our assault frigates in, and you, Liberator, can actually pull back. That's not where I want you to be. You pull back as well. Assault frigates, you can move in, and I'm actually going to put you where the Liberators were at, because I want you guys to start dealing with the missiles. Yeah, you, Liberator, get back here by the Quasars. You can come here and turn around and keep working on this Valaduja. The weapons on the Valaduja are going to start going down, so that's good news. This Dauntless is taking concussion missile fire, so let's jam them. Let's grab some other Dauntli and have them start working on the concussion missiles specifically. And then I'm going to get the Home 1 type to move up closer to both these ships that are coming in and also start to screen and take some of the hits from this Golan 3. Maybe I'll even set this... Oh, Sovv, nope, you stop moving. I don't want you to do that. I want this Home 1 in. Where's that Dauntless that's in trouble? It's here. Oh boy. Yep, we're taking some hits. Sovv, let's do defensive tactics. If I could save this Dauntless, I'd be really happy about that. And you, yeah, everybody's already... Actually, no. You scramble their sensors. And we'll try to get our tender in here to attend this Dauntless before it takes any more concussion missile damage. Sovv, you can turn. Yeah, we're about to lose that Dauntless, unfortunately. Okay, so it goes. You know, probably could have managed that situation a little bit better, but, you know, for assaulting a capital planet, I think we're doing okay. I think we're gonna be alright. This Liberator, you can start working there. In fact, I'll get these assault frigates to start working on the shipyard. Assault frigate Mark III, you can turn around. And yeah, I've kind of lost control a little bit, have stopped paying quite so much attention to all the different elements of this fight. But yeah, we're going to take out that Karaga without too much more trouble. Assault frigate, you can run away. These assault frigates, you guys can come over actually and start working on this Golan from the right-hand side. Liberators, same thing. Get on up there. Oh, I have 3 Liberators. I thought I just had 2 in the fleet. Okay. So yeah, ended up losing a Dauntless, a little bit less than ideal. Grab all my fighters and bombers and have them go for probably this frigate, this Batil carrier rather, not a frigate, a carrier. Frigate-sized, right? And yeah, need to assign my cruisers to work on this Golan specifically as well.
Get them off me.
But otherwise, I think we're in pretty good shape. Let's get our point defense up here.
I copy.
So I would rather not lose that assault frigate. Yeah, this is maybe a little sloppy. No reason for me to lose this assault frigate, but I might do it anyway. Oops. Whatever. Much must be risked in war, right? And if we can from this with just losing the 2 ships, that would be pretty sweet. Come on.
Fire up a maximum effect.
Oh, that thing's about to go bang. If I can get my tender in range, maybe we can save it. Yes, we can. Okay, everybody stop. Assault frigate, stop. You're starting to get shields back, which is awesome. Power to shields. Okay, we're going to save that one. Wonderful. Everything was under control the entire time, right? Nothing to worry about here. And I think we just have to get rid of this last carrier, and then we'll be set. They're trying to run away. I don't know why they don't just retreat. There we go. We are victorious. Okay, awesome. Like I say, biggest loss was just that one Dauntless. Did lose a couple of smaller ships, including that gunship group. That's why I tend not to build them, because they tend not to last very long, at least the way I use them. DP-20 Marauder missile cruiser. But again, could have been a lot worse, and that is a whole capital planet that we've taken out. Okay, they've now moved their big fleet away from Kashyyyk, which is interesting in a couple of ways. I still do have my really big main assault army, including Luke, here on Emberlane, so I'm going to move them over, and we are going to try to take Nal Hutta this episode. Wasn't necessarily planning on that happening. That wasn't necessarily the plan for today, but you know, we got to seize this opportunity, hit them where they're weak, right? And where they're weak is actually at their capital planet. So if we can deny them their... Is this their only level 4 shipyard? It is their only level 4 shipyard. That will be a huge win if we can attrit their capabilities that way. Okay, see, corporate sector just conquered Liana, which is right here. Okay, so now that's going to open up Mon Calamari to threat from the corporate sector, which is a little less than ideal. Significantly less than ideal, actually. I'm thinking, do I need to bone up these ground forces a little bit, and then maybe even put some on Mon Calamari? We've got ion cannons on each of these planets, right? But Mon Calamari does not have much on the ground besides the ion cannon. So I think I will invest a little bit in some defensive ground forces. We'll get 2 units of speeders, we'll get a couple of of the T-47s, and we'll get a couple of AACs, and then a thing of infantry, and we'll kind of split these ground forces up between the 2 planets, and that will take us all the way actually to basically the end of our income for the month. I will wait, as a matter of fact. I will... Okay, that'll be the Mon Cal cruiser coming into Regav's fleet. We're almost at a full fleet on that side as well, which is nice. Let's drop these ground forces down here on Emberlane. And then down here... Oh yeah, this is our MC-80B plus the Dauntless. Let's just go ahead and stick both of those into Nance's fleet. They're not doing much good back on Sullust, so no reason for us to keep them back there. Got a Liberator coming in, that's going to go into Akbar's fleet, and then let's get, here on Sullust, a couple of these Mark 1 assault frigates. Actually, we'll do 1 and 1 of the MC-40s, and all of these ships here that we're queuing up will go into Akbar's fleet to get him back up to the full 300. But now with plenty of money, we are going to assault the Hutt capital planet. We will start, as we do, with Luke Skywalker, our hero, right? Go ahead and begin. And we're not going to have Rogue Squadron in this battle, but we do have a unit of T-47s. We have some Gallifrey transports, which I don't think y'all have seen me use so far. I might not use them here either, but let's take a look at the map real quick. So they do have the base defenses. So the turbo laser towers marked by these icons here on the map. They are going to have, I think this is a planetary shield generator off here on its own. Actually, I might be able to see that anyway. But yeah, this shield here is going to encompass most of their main buildings. I am also not going to be able to use orbital bombardments or bombing runs because this is their faction capital and that functions as a planetary shield. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but I think we can deal with it. So looking at the terrain here, we've got a command post worth 3 down to the south. We've got a command post worth 3 up to the north. We've got some capturable infantry facilities running through here. And then around here to the north. This side also has fewer turbo laser towers. So I'm thinking it would be a smart idea to send Luke to the north first.
Full of surprises.
I don't really care to try to go both ways, north and south, because this is going to be a pretty heavily defended planet. They have a lot of ground units on it. We're going to try to play this slow and careful. And let's just get Luke up to capture this command post sooner rather than later, and then collect this infantry from these command posts as well. Or from these capturable infantry points as well. Speeder bikes coming in. One speeder bike is not so much of a concern to me. We'll just keep Luke moving around, dodging a little bit, and then we'll bring in some reinforcements. So now we have 8 reinforcements to choose from. I'm thinking, actually, of starting with artillery. That's going to be useful. Let's bring in, sorry, making sure I'm grabbing the right thing. Bring in some infantry. And then we will bring our T-47s as well. And then probably just go in all in on the heavy tanks. I'll come back here and grab some free runners and some AACs, and then we'll kind of deploy those situationally as makes sense. Send a squad of infantry to get each of these infantry spawn points, and then I'm going to actually send Luke up in here. Well, actually I'm going to send Luke to deal with their infantry here. He should be fine. He's covered if they run any vehicles up on us. You tanks, move back. You're bad at this. You're going to be bad at this.
Let me help you.
Luke, you can deal with this infantry as it runs away, and then we'll keep our tanks far back and get this infantry, or not infantry, artillery to start working on this turbo laser tower as it comes in. Infantry, you guys can pull back. We've got free infantry now out of both of these spawn locations, so that's fine. I'm going to bring, I think, 2 armored free runners and 2 AACs up, and then I'll leave the rest of these vehicles back here to protect this landing zone so that we don't lose it.
Ready.
Artillery is fine. Artillery is doing some work against the turbo laser tower. I'll bring in Luke to start force crushing that turbo laser tower too. Luke, I said come this way, because we're getting shot in the face right now by frickin' whatever this is, skiff thing.
Over there, you got it.
Don't like to see that. This force, I'm just going to leave these guys camped right here. Ooh, actually Luke, pull all the way back.
Be right there.
Back it up, back it way up.
They won't see
How is this
anything.
thing doing so much freaking damage to Luke? That's crazy. Yeah, he's only going to be like situationally useful, feels like. Yeah, I'll leave these guys camped here for right now. Let Luke heal up. In fact, I might grab some of this infantry, one of our real infantry squads that we paid for.
Ready to go.
Might send them back to get a back to healing station so that Luke can get healed up a bit.
Heading there now.
And then let's grab all of this infantry that's here, just sitting. Bring them up and capture this command post, and we'll probably turn this into repairs, actually. I think that makes the most sense. Meanwhile, artillery is going to be plugging away at this turbo laser tower. T-47s you can pull on back. Infantry, you guys can stay camping there. And we'll get that repair pad there. T-47s come up here, and then yeah, we'll get our back to healing station, get Luke all the way healed up. That'll be really helpful. So it says bombing run available, but we can't actually enact that because the crosshair is red because of that planetary capital limitation rule. T-47s are going after, it looks like they have some heroes that I wasn't tracking. This guy is Rashul, who is a crime lord. He is a command tier 1, so I'm not too scared of him. Keep those T-47s back. Let's see if our infantry can deal with Rashul. I'll have everybody there take cover. And man, this turbo laser tower just will not die. This is kind of crazy. Send these medium tanks down here to deal with this WLO.
Roger that.
I think that's the designation for this Hutt tank. Yeah, WLO 5 speeder tank. That's going to be their where a lot of their anti-infantry is coming from. Get these 2 heavy tanks up to start healing, start recovering. T-47s you can plug away. Oh boy, actually T-47s you can come on back and heal. That's a unit destroyed. Probably just the artillery spotter that I sent up. Yeah, that's what it is. Artillery here. Start working on this turbo laser tower. Meanwhile, Luke is completely healed, so I'm going to send him in, I think, to work on the turbo laser tower as well. Our infantry is actually going to be pretty well suited to take out both the sail barge and the turbo laser tower here, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yes, sir.
You guys turn around though. And now we're able to get even more units called in. So I think I'm going to bring in you. No, you don't. I don't want you to go that way. I do want you to come up here and park, and then we'll leave these the armored free runners and the AACs to provide security for that artillery, because I don't want to lose yet another piece of artillery. That would be kind of unfortunate. They do have this turbo laser tower, so I think Luke, if you can come up here and deal with that, that would be awesome. Our heavy tanks are mostly healed up, so let's move them a little farther forward. And then do I just bring in the turbo blimp right here, where it can start going nuts on the vehicles and turbo laser tower? I'm feeling like that might not be the best idea. But let's bring in our turbo blimp back here.
At maximum unit capacity.
Yeah, I'd rather try to keep it safe and out of harm's way. Have our artillery work on this WLO. Meanwhile, Luke, you're going to come and try to deal with this turbo laser tower before it starts causing significant problems for us. Oh, and did they sneak through and kill my artillery? Oh my gosh, that is really quite aggravating. Dang it, after I said, yeah, I want to keep my artillery alive, what did they do? They got it. Folks, they got it. That's unfortunate. Well, gotta rebuild some more yet again, I guess. Dang,
I'm with you.
my bad. I tried, my intentions were pure, but took my eyes off it for 1 minute. Looks like there's another capturable infantry facility here, so let's see if we can take that.
Stay close to me.
Luke, are you not able to, like, force crush that? Apparently not.
I'm here. Right
Let's move
away.
you back. We'll move this tank back, and I'll actually have all my infantry come up here and work on that. Luke, you can start slicing this crime lord here. I think that's going to be useful. And then we'll get our healthiest heavy tanks up there. Maybe we can bum rush him. Okay, Luke just did his job and took out that crime lord. We'll pull Luke back a little bit because I don't want him getting ambushed by all these vehicles that are coming up. Meanwhile, I do want my turbo blimp to ambush their heavy vehicles. And then we'll get this infantry moved up farther to the front as well. We also have T-47s. I'll bring those in to help out, probably just against this turbo laser tower. It would have been really nice if I could find the power generator. Take that out first, perhaps. I don't know exactly where it is on this map. So we'll send, no, actually that was my infantry that I have selected. We'll keep them, again, kind of camped on this reinforcement point. We'll get our heavy tanks up a little farther forward. And then I'll grab the T-47s and fly them around kind of the edge of the map, looking for the power generators. We can take that out. We won't have to deal with any more, killing any more of their... Oh, that's an anti-air turret. That's not what I want to run into. You guys come back from the heal. But the power generator is not on this northwest corner of the map, unfortunately. Yeah, looks like we lost another T-47. That's a little unfortunate. Meanwhile, though, our main grouping of ground forces is doing okay. You guys turn around and take that walker out, this pod walker. They have heavy, super heavy AV blaster cannons, so okay. So pretty squishy pod walkers there, but they did end up doing work on us.
Commander Skywalker reporting.
Okay, so we've got our main forces here. Infantry can stop taking cover, and let's go ahead. I think we're just going to have to breach the shield the old-fashioned way, so penetrate the shield and then take out the shield generator itself before we're able to do a lot of damage, especially from orbit. Can go ahead and fast forward though, and now that everybody is more or less queued up, I'll send Luke in first actually and see if he can take out the shield generator before everybody gets too far through. Although, you know, it would be a problem if they had a lot of units stacked up here on the inside of the shield. They would be able to shoot out and we wouldn't be able to do much about it. We would have to get through the shield before we could shoot back. As it is though, they haven't really deployed their forces very efficiently, so they're not taking advantage of the location of that and the fact that that shield generator exists. So still got these medium tanks here, kind of watching the flanks here. I'm okay keeping these rear security forces in place. Oh my gosh, totally forgot about that anti-air turret. That is doing nasty things. You guys go ahead. Infantry, you guys go deal with that anti-aircraft turret, please. And let's get all of our infantry. Go ahead and start taking that out. Could have lost our turbo blimp there. That's a little unfortunate. Did lose a couple of weapons hard points, but it's still intact. Well, it still exists. It's still alive. Luke, meanwhile, is just getting shot by infantry, which is fine. That technically heals him. Let's see if we can get him to start force crushing the shield generator. It looks like that's working. So we'll send these tanks in. Infantry was successful in taking out that anti-aircraft turret, so we'll send them in. Check the rest of the mini-map, make sure there's nothing crazy going on. Nope, nothing. We're good. I will send in my... I'll just keep the T-47s where they are, because I don't want them to accidentally run into this anti-aircraft turret there. Excellent. Okay, that's the shield generator down. Heavy tanks. You guys take that down, and then which one of these is the Hutt Palace? So the Grand Hutt Council is their faction capital. That is going to be our priority, so we can use our orbital support. So I guess we're just sweeping through their base, rolling them up from north to south, which was not necessarily my intent. You guys go ahead, keep working on this local Hutt Palace. Luke, meanwhile, you can come down and see what this structure is to the south. Oh yeah, we'll take this out very quickly, and then we'll have our orbital support available to us, which will be really nice. you guys that are running security for us, go take out this stupid little skiff. And then I will... no, I'll keep... Oh, there's the power generator right there. Okay. Well, we'll run into it soon. Actually, I have a bombardment. Let's just take it out right now where we stand. And then I'll call in this bombing run here.
Transmit the order.
So that is going to eliminate their turbo laser towers. Those are no longer going to be effective against us. I'm just going to grab all of our forces here. We'll move these guys into the middle. We'll move the turbo plimp down to the south, and then we'll grab these couple of tanks, have them come clear out this command post, and we'll send these tanks in here to follow as well. Because they do still have units running around the map, and especially these turrets that I don't want to run important things into, like the turbo blimp.
Moving out.
Oh, the battle's not completely won yet. Still want to be kind of careful. So this large group of forces is kind of annoying, especially this infantry turret that might end up hurting Luke.
Unit destroyed.
Unit destroyed. What was that?
Standing by.
Not a T-47, hopefully, and not a turbo blimp, hopefully. Okay, AACs and free runners. Probably a turbo laser down here that was causing problems. Let's get all you guys up here. You can deal with that. This is a little bit dangerous, splitting up my attention over so many fronts here on this still decently complicated battlefield.
Yes, Commander.
Run our main conventional ground forces down through here, and we'll grab all of our infantry actually and have them run into this middle infantry area. And then this turbo blimp will send in to deal with these turrets and these tanks while Luke finishes off the infantry here at this landing zone. And we can send this small group of tanks up as well. They can start helping. Yeah, you turbo blimp, just take out that turret. It's starting to hurt Luke a little bit. These tanks, you guys get on the other side of this barrier, and you can work on that anti-infantry turret. Turbo blimp, keep moving on in. Yeah, what do we keep losing? Probably infantry, if I had to guess. Yeah, we've lost a lot of infantry, so we're going to be down a few infantry companies from this whole experience. Oh yeah, there they are. Whoops. Let's bring in our T-47s to help out against some of these guys. They've got the anti-vehicle turret there. And then Luke, let's get you into this infantry area as well, and you can start helping out. Turbo blimp, go ahead and fly ahead. Fly in there. And I think it's just going to be these guys holding out in this bunker. The last holdouts, the final defenders of Nal Hutta. How long will they last?
Skywalker here.
There we go. We are victorious. Okay, fantastic. Like I say, I was not planning on taking a faction capital this episode, but I'm not going to argue with the opportunity. Yeah, lost a couple of army troopers. Otherwise, pretty clean win. Pretty straightforward. Pretty successful. So we'll get our basic structures built up there, and then cast our gaze upon Ubrikia, which is a little interesting. Actually, you know what? I am going to hold off for just a second. Let's come back to Bothwai, the natural place to build some Bothan spies, and build some Bothan spies. Let's come back over here to Endor, double check. Yeah, we have the basic space station there. That's all I'm going to build here, because the Empire might send... Oh, actually, no, the Pentastar alignment at this point. Wow, they have pushed in. The Pentastar alignment is in the core. The Empire only has a handful of planets here in the true and deep core. Pentastar alignment has really pushed down and done some work on this former Imperial territory. Yeah, fascinating. Pentastar alignment doing well this game, this round. Taking a look at Bakura, I am wanting to get our influence up on Bakura because if it is high enough, that means we can build some of the Bakuran ships, which are kind of fun to have. So to do that, I think the best thing for me to do is fill out the rest of the build slots and not tax the planet. So I'm just the infrastructure slots, we'll fill those out a little more. And then unpause and wait for that spy on Bothwai to be done. Because I could move up to Kashyyyk, I could move up to Ubrikia. I would prefer to move up to Nar Shaddaa if push comes to shove. Yeah, I think that would be best for us there. Move up to Nar Shaddaa because that's not going to open us up to any more avenues of attack. Right now, if either of these fleets come at us from Kashyyyk or Ubrikia, they are not very large. We are going to be able to handle them just fine. If they come at us at Emberline, especially once we get Akbar's fleet fully reinforced, they are not going to have game against us. Let's check in on Emberline's infrastructure. Could use... Actually, Emberline would be a great place eventually for a trade port because it has so many external connections and the trade port planets are most valuable when they're connected to your planets. So I'm going to go ahead and queue that up because we will very soon take Ubrikia and Kashyyyk and then it'll have 6 friendly connections, which is awesome. Got the spy ready to go, so go check out Nar Shaddaa.
Complete.
Admiral Sovv here, really kind of the unexpected hero of the campaign in Hutt space, neutralizing the threat that the
Mission
Hutts
log
pose to the
updated.
peace and stability of the New Republic. Check out the mission that we just got here. If we destroy 2 super transport, 11 bulk freighters over Kashyyyk, we will pick up a Storm Cloud Car wing. So again, kind of a mid mission, but does give us something to do. Also have the opportunity to potentially capture some Vontors or a Karaga or something. So I am kind of inclined to fulfill that mission. How scared am I of what the Hutts have at Ubrikia? And really the issue is not so much what do they have at Ubrikia, but what do they have on these other planets that connect to Ubrikia where they could launch an attack on Emberline. Emberline, though, is doing pretty okay. We are about to have the ground-to-space cannon. We have a couple of ground structures, and we have some non-trivial ground forces here to help out. About to have
Constructing unit.
2 pieces of artillery, because one of these needs to go back into Luke's army, because apparently I can't keep artillery alive to save my life. Or rather, save my artillery's life. Okay, so they have a fleet of 58. I am not afraid. I am not afraid of that. So let's come on down and check into our production here. Like I said, these ships here are going to end up going into Akbar's fleet. I will get a replacement Dauntless for Sovv's fleet.
Production.
And yeah, let's go ahead and do it with Sovv. Go ahead and move on in, brother.
Tactical
And they did move that admin hero in at the last minute, which is great. If we can eliminate this admin hero, that is going to be super good for us. So I will jump in my interdictor on this battle, and that will be really helpful in helping them prevent them from retreating. At this point, the more of these smaller Hutt fleets we can pick off before they're able to consolidate, the better off we will be. Okay, so their shipyard here is just a pirate refuge base. They're going to get some small ships, 3 Space Ark Star Cruisers, and 4 PDF Dreadnought. Oh wait, no. So for the Hutt tags for their garrisons, they're going to get IPv1 gunboats. Wow, I can't read right now. They're going to get some Marauder missile cruisers. They're going to get some PDF Dreadnought heavy cruisers, and they're going to get 2 Venators. So nothing too scary there, but combined with their other fleets, again, it's the combination that can sometimes get you with some of these forces here. So let's see what they do before I bring in my forces. I'm kind of tempted. Oh, are you just coming out to see me? Okay, well, that's fine, I guess. I think I'm going to drop in my MC-80 Home 1 type right there, and we're going to get this freaking Karaga before it can
We've got our orders.
react, really. We'll bring in this
We're heading there now.
interdictor, because again, I don't want this 50 or 60 pop cap worth of units to retreat and cause us trouble in the future. Bring in our squad of Liberators. Which, again, solid ships, good heavy weapons, good fighter complement. I quite like the Liberators. Ooh, they do have an ion cannon. So yeah, I'm actually quite glad we're going for Nar Shaddaa and not letting it sit, because this does have the potential to cause problems for us. This planet does. And let's bring in all of our point defense kind of close together. I guess we can afford to spread it out just a little bit. And bring this Mon Cal ship as well, and then these couple of MC-30s. I guess I'll bring in the Assassins as well. They'll do a little bit of anti-ship damage for us, and we will be fighting some frigates and corvettes that we have to deal with. So, Home 1 is still ion, so it's not able to hit its powered shields right now. This Dauntless is taking some heat, which I don't love. Let's get this Dauntless up here, and you can actually kind of charge forward and start working on these Venators that are causing us problems. Assault frigates, I will control click all of you and have you start working on this Venator to the right, or to the left, and then we'll control all of our fighters, and I think just send them in. No, we'll send them in on the Vontor, actually, because that's decently scary. Vontor, go. I will keep my X-Wings, my Z-95s, mixing it up here with their fighters. And let's get all of our CR-90s up here next to this Dauntless. This Dauntless is doing fine, and yeah, you're working on that Venator. We'll have our MC-80 honestly maybe even move up and have them target, and have this MC-80 target the Vontor once we get it a little more farther forward, a little more in tanking position. And I think I told all of my bombers to go up and engage, start making bombing rounds on my Vontor. Most of them appear to have not done that, which is a little less than ideal. Where is my tender Nebulon B sitting at?
Nebulon B frigate here.
Yeah, we'll move you up by these assault frigates that are kind of hurting, as well as these other Nebulon Bs. Move these guys up to provide some more point defense to help defend those assault frigates. This Dauntless, I'm going to have you start working, and these Liberators too, we're going to have you start working on these Dreadnoughts, because they are doing probably the most damage to... Oh, we lost one assault frigate Mark III. Well, dang. And this guy is taking some hits as well. But we've got our point defense in position now. Bring up our assassin corvettes and have them start working on their own corvettes. At least have them positioned a little farther forward. Home 1 type, I really need you to start taking down the weapons on those Vontours. These smaller, we're now in like a frigate duel with their frigate-sized ships. I'm not too worried about that, how that's going to go. This Dauntless is a little bit hurting. Get our couple of MC-30s up to start helping a little more. They've been doing some long-range damage. They have long-range proton torpedoes, so they've just been probably just idly shooting those out. Liberator. Our Liberator squad back here. Take out the rest of the hard points on this Paraga. And then this MC-80 is going to be able to take down the heavy turbo lasers pretty easily. Okay, so maybe a little tighter than it should have been. Again, wasn't managing all of my frigates super intensively, wasn't taking down their key hard points as maybe diligently as I should have been. Did lose one assault frigate Mark III, but most of the rest of our ships are going to make it out. Grab our Dauntlesses, grab Sovv. Sovv actually took quite a bit of hits, so that's interesting. And I'll tell this Dauntless to just stop and chill. We'll control A all of our fighters. Maybe I won't do that. So the way these fighters are grouped here, if I click on any of these that have like multiple of the same type, it'll just select that type. What I really need is a fighter that's the only one of the type. Then if I were to click on that, it would select all of our fighters. So that's probably what happened, and why my bombers didn't charge full on straight ahead like I had intended them to do. I'm going to have to give type by type assignments to get all of our individual types of fighters moving forward the way I want them to be. Keep moving this MC-80 forward. It's slow, it's broken the shields on the Golan 2. We'll move it forward to take down the shipyard itself. Although, again, we have no opposition at this point, practically. They're going to keep ion cannoning us, but as long as they keep going for these backline ships, they're not really going to hit anything important. Get all these guys clumped together just so they can provide point defense for each other in case they send any sneaky bomber squadrons back to start hitting them, but I don't really think that's at risk either. They do still have this one Golan that was up here hiding in the debris fields. And we can eliminate that without too much problem. And there we go, a win. So Admiral Sovv, taking a few hits to his fleet here, is now sitting at 270 fleet cap, so going to have to rebuild some of those support ships. But I'm feeling pretty good about how that went. Took the main Hutt capital, or the only Hutt capital of Nal Hutta, and are positioned really well to do a ground invasion and take their other important world here in the same system. Nar Shaddaa is just a moon of Nal Hutta, right? So in position to take Nar Shaddaa and really start carving into this Hutt territory here, eliminating this threat on our flank, and ultimately, if we continue on this trajectory, ultimately connect up our territory so that we will be fully connected with the Regab's forces, ground and space, over Mon Calamari. So, thanks for watching, hope everyone enjoyed it, have a great day, and I will see you next time.